Fans of Randomania, fans of Final Fantasy Randomizer, thank you for joining us tonight. Today we have the League Stage 5 match between rainbowpoogle and mageius. I am ShadowWalker227, and joining me in the commentary booth for the very first time, Leggy Stars.
Hi everyone. This is going to be a fun one. I'm already super excited for this match.
So you might notice below the runner screens, we have our forced party here. The draft order. Mageius opened up with a thief. Rainbowpoogle countered back red mage and black mage. And then Mageius, throwing a curveball at the end, decides on a second red mage. So we have no fighters, no black belts. We're going to be casting some spells.
And hopefully also running away a little bit. And probably digging for a katana.
Yep, and on Restream tonight for us is Demarine2. Thank you very much for that, Demarine. Game Boy F9 joining us in the chat. Thank you for hosting us tonight. And as soon as we have our runners selecting a party, we'll get things started. But just to remind everybody, the NPC shuffle is in full effect now. So while the NPCs are going to be giving us key items, we don't know who's going to give us what. So turning in the crown could give us anything. It could even give us a boat.
Yeah. Additionally, I believe that the enemies are a little bit tougher than they have been previously. Just like last week, unlike the previous 2 weeks, scaling is ranging all the way from 50% to 200%. Which is just a little bit scarier.
Yep, enemies are a little bit tougher. So we're going to be having a little bit harder of a time, perhaps going through Topher, perhaps not. You never know what they're going to roll. They could roll.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the nature of the random range. You know, it can go all the way up to go all the way down to now. So things could be, you know, half as tough as they normally are.
Yep. So looks like we finally got both our runners on screen, and one of our runners is just finishing up making up their party, and then we'll give them the go ahead, and the race will begin shortly after. Like Mageius just shuffling up the party order a little bit. Boy, without a real frontline tank, it's going to be up to the thief to get the jump on enemies and run away, and hopefully we'll be able to escape.
Yeah, this is a party where I would be really, really excited to see the tail early, just because a thief on their own isn't going to have that much in the way of armor, but once they class change into a ninja, you can start wearing, you know, flame armor or ice armor and actually get something resembling a defense.
Yep, it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. It's going to be heavy emphasis on black magic. All 4 party members by the end of the game are going to be able to cast level 1 through 4 spells at least. And 2 of our 4 party members are going to be able to cast some white magic. So hopefully we'll see some good spells. Cure 4 and Viz 2, definitely a priority. And also be looking for some good low-level black magic, because we're not going to be doing a ton of damage physically unless we find some insanely good weapons early.
Yeah. Like, the real amazing thing you want to see is, like, nuke at level 1, plus some really nice white magic that you can throw on the red mages in slots where they can actually learn it. Red mages on their own have a fairly limited and sporadic ability to learn white magic from the different low-level white magic shops. So that's definitely going to be something to pay attention to. Well, looks like
So
the
we
runners
have just a little bit of confusion in the SRL room, and hopefully we'll be getting this started real soon.
Cool. All right.
Okay, finally got this resolved. We're kicking our runners off. They've got the countdown going.
4,
And we'll be
3,
beginning very
2, go! And we're off. Looks like Rainbow Poogle is running straight up for the king. Who has the canoe? We've got Invis 2 and Fade in level 1 white.
And both of those red mage learnable. That's going to be great for the entire game through. There's your offense, there's your defense, all wrapped up in one nice little bundle.
And then on the black magic side, it's Brack, Zap, Confuse, and Lit 2. What do you like there?
Basically all of it. I love Brack. It's a great spell for being able to take out single targets in the early to mid game, as well as Kraken and Tiamat 1. Zap is an AoE death spell. It's a great resource. It has lower accuracy than, say, Bane, but it's time elemental, so nothing in the game resists it except chaos. Confuse is a great tool to have at your disposal for when you're fighting Carrie, as she is weak to the status element. And Lit 2 is a great early sweeper spell, so I love all of this.
Yeah, of course, I don't imagine any of our runners are going to grab Lit 2 when Fade is on the menu, outside of maybe for that for that black mage.
Yeah, it would be good to pick up Lit 2 for the black mage at the very least. Clear some Sahags and our Sahags. And we have more route diversions, as mageius is not going to Temple of Phoenix to start off, but going to go straight to the dwarf chests.
And finds a ribbon there.
Rewarded.
So that's going to be nice.
It's an interesting choice to go there first, but I will take a ribbon any day of the week, so very happy about that.
I mean, I expect Rainbow Poogle will find that ribbon eventually. Running over to Dwarf Cave is, something that's going to happen, what with the Fetch Quest shuffle on. As Princess Sarah gives Rainbow Poogle the Adamant as after taking down Garland fairly lickety-split. Yeah,
so with seeing the Adamant right away, I am sure that Rainbow Poogle is probably going to go right over to the dwarves and is also going to find the ribbon and be very happy to see that. Mageius taking some unfortunate damage from the spider packs and random enemies and is down to 2 warriors already. Hopefully he can at least get that. Oh, and bones are unrunnable, so definitely gonna have to fight this.
Well, at least one of them missed, and he got his fade off. So
this is a little bit of a rough start, but hopefully Mageius will be able to get through these first chests, find a cap and some money in the top left. That opal shield isn't going to do much aside from selling for cash.
Yeah, and that 5,000 cash is pretty good this early on. That'll get you most of what you need out of Provoca.
Yep, to date, it's a great starter pack for the early game. Using a pure potion here, that black mage only has 7 hit points. Is probably not really that worth it. But then again, you never know. Maybe that's going to save his life and not tick down from poison.
Fingers crossed.
Also, maybe Mageius just doesn't want to listen to the poison sound, and I can't blame him for that.
Yeah, and Garland goes down on Mageius' side, and Mageius is going to get the canoe and the adamant as well.
Yep, so Mageius is now going to have to double right back to dwarves to get that key item from the adamant. The other choice, of course, being you could go over to Provoca and check out what the level 2 magic is there, take out Bicky and his Buccaneers, and get yourselves some extra experience points and levels. So, curious to see what our runners.
Yep, just like every other race in these tournament, or I guess league, the bridge is just there. We get it for free. Here you go, have a bridge. It has your name on it, apparently.
Yep, the king was feeling so trusting he went ahead and put up the bridge without even waiting for you to rescue the princess.
To be fair, I think that was a strong economic decision to increase trade with Provoca, especially because their sea route is being pillaged by pirates.
Makes a lot of sense economically. Can't argue with.
Yeah, so it looks like Poogle's running over right away to turn that adamant in. So that's going to lead to a nice ribbon pickup right away.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. You're getting a key item. It's not far out of your way. There's 2 chests along the way, so I'm sure Poogle is going to be very happy to find her ribbon. And Mageius also turning right back around and going to the dwarves. So we'll see what the Smith has in store for us today.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked like we had some houses available in Corneria. They were about 1,000 gold, so a little bit on the pricey side.
Mm-hmm.
And the Smith gives us the crystal, so that's convenient. Now we have an extra reason to go back over to Provoca, and another key item and 3 more chests to go check out. So this is working out very well for our runners.
Yeah, as it turns out, in my race recently, the floater just happened to be sitting in one of Matoya's chests, and given that the Masamune has been there a couple of times this seed, I'm excited to see what this crystal is going to point us towards. I mean, now that I've said it, it's probably nothing, but still.
Yep, the other thing to remember is that every one of those key items that we keep finding is going to give us another 5% experience bonus. So between the adamant, canoe, bridge, and crystal, we now are up to 20% extra experience points and gold from fights. And we'll have 10 more incoming from the Matoya turn-in and the Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Mageius did stop to take a couple of houses, so it's going to be safer on this trek over, and we'll see what Matoya has.
Yeah. Plus, having the canoe early means that getting to Matoya is a little less of a hassle than it normally would be just to walk. Looks like a flame armor, a large knife, and about 1.4k in cash.
Yeah, that flame armor will be really nice after class change once the... Oh, Matoya has a floater!
That's a nice pickup. So...
We're going to be traveling very quickly to...
Yeah, hello Jet Seed.
Potentially. There's still the possibility that we could find some nastiness, and we are going to be digging for 3 loose key items, so it's yet to be determined what all that's going to hold in store for us.
True. It does open the world up in a super awesome way.
Oh, absolutely. With the travel options all available to us, well, all the important travel options between the airship and the canoe, that is, open to us. Our runners have literally the world on a plate at this point, so wherever it is they want to go, that's where they're going to head to.
Though it looks like Mageius is going to stop off in Provoca first. Might as well see what Bicky has regardless.
Oh, absolutely. The free key item here could help you decide where you want to go. Maybe you find a tail. Maybe that leads you straight to the Cardi Isles.
Ooh, life at level 2. As well as heal 3. Now that's
Life
super
and heal 3,
exciting.
both very...
Yeah, especially because red mages can learn all level 2 white magic.
Yeah, it's one of the few levels where every class that learns white magic has access to all of them. Knight, red mage, red wizard, white mage, they all can have all level 2 spells. So it's the only level that's the case.
Yeah, looked like black magic level 2 didn't have much outside of Quad X.
Quad X is a great spell to find early. That Lit 2 is going to get you through the early game, sweeping a lot of the weaker enemies, and Quad X is a great resource when you know your enemy HPs to be able to take down harder fights more quickly. Hydras on the river, for instance, are a great use of your Quad X's. They rarely roll over 300 hit points, and that's free XP.
And apparently the pirates have been raiding the gemstone mines today as Mickey hands over a ribbon. I mean, a ruby. Wow.
Well, they're pirates. They have to plunder the treasure.
Indeed. What else are they going to give you?
So the ruby is an interesting pickup. We don't often see the ruby turned in because it's only 4 chests, but given that we have loose key items and the fact that our runners are very likely to go to Sarda after picking up the airship, I think our runners might actually take the time to go drop off the ruby to the Titan and see what's in store for them.
Yeah, it's 4 not literally free, but basically free chests that they can pick up. And if they're in the neighborhood anyway, I see no reason not to.
Alright, so our vendor item isn't here in Provoke either, so we'll have to keep looking for that. That flame armor is worth a lot of money, and I do not blame Poogle for selling it once she saw that price.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to let you pick up a big stack of either houses, cabins, stock up on all your healing items.
Actually, with that much money, why not all of it?
Indeed.
Yeah. Though it is some of the best armor you can get for your ninja, so it is a, large stack of cash now that might wind up leaving you wanting a little bit later, unless you find the ice armor.
Yeah, there's other good choices. Ice armor, of course. Silver armor is a good secondary if you have to rely on that.
If you find a gold bracelet or an opal bracelet, those could be useful.
Yep, definitely.
Looks like Magius is heading on down to the floater.
Yep, Magius taking a quick trip along the river and going to turn in the floater for the airship and probably stop off at the stages and see what they have.
Mm-hmm.
Just a reminder, our incentive locations on these Week 5 flags are at the Ice Cave and the Castle Ordeals, so likely both of those dungeons will be hit up fairly early.
Indeed. Though, I personally am a fan of putting off Ice Cave for a little bit because it terrifies me.
Yeah, Ice Cave is definitely one of the dungeons that is very dangerous to dive. There's so many different enemies that you see, and often so many on the same screen even. There's particularly the Undead Party Pack, which has up to 4 different types of undead on the screen at the same time. And if any one of them has a nasty skill or spell, it could spell doom.
Question from chat, is Ordeals shuffled in these flags? Yes. The Pillar Maze is randomized in these flags.
Yep, all league long, the Pillar Maze will be shuffled, so we won't know until we start checking pillars where we're going to.
The chat reporting that Hydras apparently have Death Touch, which is terrifying, but at least we know where it is now.
Yeah, it's one of those things that in the early game, it's very dangerous and it's very annoying. But you don't see Hydras that often outside of the river systems, so it's not a big deal to see it. It's certainly making the trek down to Crescent and the airship a little bit more dangerous, but it's not something we're going to have to deal with for very long in this season.
Unlike things like mummies, which show up in... Oh god, I don't even remember how many dungeons at this point.
too many. Cure 4 and Exit, both at level 6, and both in Red Wizard learnable slots. So not having a White Mage does not matter because you have basically every spell you'd want on that White Mage.
Yeah, the Confused Old Men having Yoga in the Park, a new flag that is getting its debut in this league. Hand over a rod, which will be used to clear Earth Cave.
mageius making an interesting play here, choosing to go to the Peninsula of Power for some experience points and money. This is something that you used to see a lot in some of the older flag sets where the runners would need to get some extra experience points in the early game. In these newer flag sets that we've got, especially with the key item EXP progression, I find it much more valuable to go turn in your key items first. Sages or Sarda is going to give you a free key item that's going to be another 5% EXP. So that's basically 5% EXP that you're missing out on any fights that you're taking right now.
Yeah, as both of our runners are now both airborne at about 14 minutes into the seed. So we have another question from chat. How are abilities like Trance shuffled? So, despite having done a little bit of first of all, we have Nuke at level 3 Black Magic.
That's always a welcome sight. Anytime you see Nuke early, that is great all throughout the game. But basically what happens is all the skills and spells get put into a list. And as the randomizer shuffles things around, it creates a script. And it says, okay, I'm going to pull some of these spells, some of these skills out of the list. And that's going to go into this script. And then let's throw a dart at the dartboard. You get that script. So it keeps assigning those until all the skills and all the spells are gone. Of course, there is a separate pool for the endgame bosses. The Fiend refights, Chaos, and Warmech have their own special pool that is pulled just from their original skills and spells.
Yeah, I didn't see anything exciting in level 4 magic, but we do have Warp.
Warp is extremely exciting in my book.
I mean, I don't see anything exciting other than Warp. Apologies.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Warp
and that's going to make Ordeals and Ice Caves so much more exciting to visit because, you know, you can pop in, you can warp your way through bad teleporter picks, you can cheat your way into getting the floater chest early with Warp.
Yep. Crown is our item from Sarda today. So we'll be paying the kindly old king in the Northwest Castle a visit. And another thing that we saw was Fast at level 7. So that is Red Wizard learnable. It will take until later in the game for our Red Wizards and Black Wizards to be able to cast that spell, but at least it is on the table.
As we have Poogle feeding the Hungry Titan.
Alright, let's see if it was worth it.
Silver Shield, 2k in cash, Iron Gauntlet, 600 cash. Sadly, nothing overly exciting.
Yeah, nothing too exciting, but the Silver Shield will be a welcome sight. That'll be equipable on the Ninja after class change, and never hurts to have a couple extra dollars.
Oh, definitely.
So a couple of ogres give one of the red mages a little dirt nap, and Poogle is going to head on over and probably check level 5 magic, maybe not.
Well, Melman doesn't have a clinic, so if you want that red mage to no longer be asleep, you'll need to hit up somewhere like Elfland.
Yep, fair enough. And I imagine while Poogle's down here in Elfland, trip to the Northwest Castle is in short.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like silver swords and cat claws available in the weapon shop here in Elfland. So silver swords nice for the red mages, but unfortunately that thief can't equip. Also, we have Fade and Nuke, so we're probably not swinging many swords.
The kindly old king in Northwest Castle. Oh my god, it's Astos.
What?
But apparently, Astos was garbing the Allspark, the cube.
I was going to say the Tesseract. That's what gives him his power, clearly.
Yeah. Either way, it goes down to a single fade.
Yep, with the abundance of good damage-dealing spells that we have in the early game, most of these early bosses are not going to stand a chance.
Indeed. Poogle flying... to Gaia.
Makes sense. Probably looking for the vendor item, I would imagine, and I'm going to take the opportunity to check spells. Doesn't check black magic.
Ooh, that might be bad.
Yeah, so Poogle not gaining the knowledge that fast is available here. That's a little bit of a bummer, and that could come back to bite her later.
Though, you know, she might come back and check later once they find the bottle.
So it looks like Life 2, Temper, and Bane available at level 5. So we basically know where all of the really high-value spells are. Google thinks about stopping off at ordeals and then decides against it. Probably going to check the Cardi Isles for some free treasure first.
Yeah. Cardia has, I believe it's 13 treasure chests divided among 3 rooms, and finds a katana on the first one. That's going to be great after class change.
Yeah, that's the best weapon a ninja can equip other than the Masamune, so definitely a welcome sight.
Yeah. Some extra, you know, goodies, but nothing to write home about in that area of Cardia.
Unrelated Pants asking if Life 2 at 5 was in a Red Mage learnable slot. It was not Red Mage learnable, and I'm not convinced whether or not that's a Red Wizard learnable slot. I'm bad with my Red Mage level 5 magic, but we see a slab in the Cardia Islands, so that's...
Yeah. Dragons learning to communicate with the Lefanians, I guess.
Well, it makes sense that the dragons were hanging on to the Rosetta Stone. They're an ancient race that have been here for so long.
Indeed. I'm just impressed they let us take it.
These are very kind dragons. They don't mind sharing their treasure with the light warriors.
And there is the wizard staff, which, if used in combat, casts Confuse, which is super useful in particularly obnoxious carry fights.
Yep, it's also interesting that Confuse is a viable strategy that you can choose to try for sometimes in Fiend fights. Has, I want to say, a 14% chance to land on carry 2. So, still a valid option, even in...
Yeah, and I've never seen it used against enemies that have a fire weakness, but how the Confused Staff works is that if an enemy is confused, it will cast fire on either itself or other enemies.
Yep, it's an interesting bit of programming in the game that it looks like they're punching themselves, but secretly they're casting fire.
Ooh, max price chime in on-rack.
So that's interesting. We've got Rod already. We found the cube. The chime is our vendor item. So we have a lot of dungeon access available already, or at least knowledge of that access, given that we need the money first to be able to buy that chime.
Yes. Though we still have no idea about the Oxyale, and we're missing both of the items required to get our way through the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Yep, so Oxyale, the Mystic Key, and the Loot are technically our only 3 items left before we actually are in go mode. Although with this party, the tail is basically required.
Strong agree.
That being said, we still have several incentive locations left to check. We still have a slab translated that we need to go talk to the Lethanish people to figure out what they've got for us. Ordeals is still an unknown.
Speaking of, that's what Poogle looks like she's up to right now.
Yep, so we'll get a very quick look at that, and then Ordeals is still on the table, Ice is still on the table, and as is Waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of fades, and these giants go down, and Poogle's already hitting level 8 and 9 with some warriors, so definitely starting to look good, and this is definitely a good point to be for going into.
Yeah, it's worth noting that the encounters you'll find along your walk to Lefane are the same encounters that show up in the Peninsula of Power. So if you want to do a pop grind, but you have your translated slab, you might as well do it while taking a walk down the peninsula all the way to talk to the Lupa Lupa race.
Yep. Almost all of the fights in the Northern Continent are worth good experience points. If you have the means to take them out easily, it's a great source of extra EXP and extra gold as you're on your way either to Ordeals or to speak to the Lethanish. Yeah. I never know exactly how to say it.
Giants have crack and nearly wipe Poogle's party. So she's going to reset out of that. She wants none of that business.
Yeah, can't say I blame her. That's a lot of lost experience points on your party members, but she did get a fade off, so I'm curious if that would have actually ended up killing them and maybe could have used cabins and houses to get back to the...
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Though I forget whether or not we mentioned it, but the Lethanish people gave us a bottle which has a tiny fairy inside. Who normally will give us the Oxy Ale, but who knows what said fairy will find in the bottom of the river in the back of Gaia. River, pond, it's unclear to me.
I always thought it was a spring, but yeah, it's a pool of water.
Yeah. Poogle walking by the black magic shop in Gaia once again. Chat says a lake. I was probably getting confused because I saw recently yet another proposed map edit to add a river coming out of Gaia, which would allow you to access it if you have the canoe but no airship.
And apparently there's a ship at the bottom of the spring lake. So that's interesting.
Good news is, though, that the transit service for this world are in place, and you'll be able to claim your ship right outside of the Corneria docks.
It's a very magical ferry, being able to transport the ship all the way over there for you. Also an inconvenient location, that, given the fact that we're in a mountain-locked region, but...
I've heard of stranger things. Rainbow Poogle is doing a dive of Volcano's armory area. There are a whole bunch of densely packed chests here, so let's see... And a Tyro Wyvern trap tile.
Yeah, steak and wings on the menu at the fire trap tile, so we're gonna have a couple opportunities to take these fights if we want, but looks like they're not going down very...
The Wyvern goes down, but also takes out the Thief. Black Mage fires off a Brack, it does not work. Another Fade flies out. Another Fade flies out, and the Tyro goes down.
Mageius, after running about and turning in some key items and stuff, decides to stop back by Elfland and do a little bit more shopping. And we'll see where he decides to go.
The tile in the center of the armory appears to be a bunch of peeds, which are a fantastic encounter for experience. A little less than the Tyro, but they're going down a lot easier. Just 2 fades took them all out.
Yeah, EXPs are a great source of early experience points. They taper off in the teens and quite a lot, but it'll really get you up to speed in the early.
Indeed. Ooh, a defense sword.
That's
defense sword.
Always a welcome sight.
Yeah. When used in combat, it'll cast Ruse, which gives you twice as much evasion as invisibility 2 will, but only on the person who's holding it. So if you get off a few of those on your main melee damage dealer, they're pretty much impossible to hit for the rest of the fight.
Right. Ruse is 80 evade, and after 3 casts, you'll have a total of 240, which is the max evade, according to the limitation set by the devs. And it's very unlikely once you have that much evade.
Poogle takes another Pede fight and decides that's enough and starts wandering off, either to pop back out and save or look at the rest of the chests. Looks like popping back out, which, fair, I'd do the same.
Yep, we found good enough items that it is worth running back out and saving your experience points. Also, looks like we're running low on spell charges, so definitely important to manage your spells and not having enough. Not having enough to progress further in the dungeon. It makes a lot of sense to take the time to be a bit.
Yeah, especially now that you've also got a few levels under your belt, so that once you drop that house or fly back to Crescent Lake, you'll have even more spells going back into it than you would normally. Or before. Looks like while Mageius is exploring the rest of Volcano, Poogle's off to Ice Cave.
Yeah, I like this. You check the armory, pick up a couple extra levels and some loot while you're there. Get yourself into the low teens. You have Fade, you have Nuke that's going to get you safely through a lot of these encounters in the Ice Cave. Except the cockatrices have Ice too, and we don't have Great Resist here yet, so that could be a problem.
Sorry.
Not a problem at all.
Yeah. Looks like Mageius is taking a few of those Tyro fights.
Yep, Tyros are a good source of experience, and if Mageius feels like he's able to take them down fairly easily, it makes sense to take the fights while you're. Of course, he doesn't know yet that the Grey Worm trap tile has been replaced by the EXPs, so he says this is good enough for some experience points. I'm going to get some levels and probably then warp back up and use. Litter SRL pointing out in chat that murdering some friends. I'm sorry, but Tyros make great steaks. I have to just.
I mean, you know, anything else aside, they're made of wonderful, wonderful experience points, which is all that I care about in this case. Looks like the spike tile off to the side of the floater chest is a sandworm, which is also a pretty good grind if you're into that.
Yeah, so we already have a couple of decent choices for grind tiles. None of them are particularly amazing, but definitely good choices, as we find the herb in our incentive.
And guarding the bottom of Ice Cave is a pair of Sphinxes that Poogle manages to run away from.
Yeah, the Sphinx enemies give a good bit of experience points, so it's definitely a fight worth considering.
Oh god, I just looked over at chat for a second, and apparently while I was watching Poogle's items, Magius ran into Squint Cerberus and Nuke Wizogre. So that's... I'm gonna say exciting? Is exciting the right word?
It is certainly exciting, but not in a good way. Anytime an enemy rolls first turn nuke, it is gonna be a bad time, and we're gonna see those Wizogres here in the volcano as well as in the Earth Caves. So that could definitely cause some big problems for our runners, as we have a very low HP party right now.
Yeah, and the only thing that stops Nuke is MDef and HP, and the only way you get those is leveling up.
So we're making some progress, slow but steady, and we're definitely getting there. Find a good chunk of money in the chest behind the Frosties, but Rainbow Poogle opts not to take the second chest.
No, Poogle did it earlier. That was the encounter she got on the way back.
Oh, I see. Check the back chest first. Okay.
Yeah. Running all the way in and finding the arachnid tile before checking any of the chests. Opal armor is unfortunately only night equipable. So that's some cash along with the power staff, which is usually pretty good money.
Yep, so nothing but cash down here, but we do need a lot of cash for that chime, so can't be too disappointed.
Pair of iron armors. Ooh, Mage Staff is a nice pickup. Another castable item that'll cast Fire 2, which is, not necessarily the strongest spell in the game, but it's a really great way to kill fire packs that are weak to fire without using any spell charges.
I'd also like to point out that it finally gives that thief something to do in combat aside from just trying to run away. So I would definitely be happy.
Yeah, I'm always happy to find any one of those AoE castable items, even if I don't have someone who can use them. Thor Hammer, Zeus Gauntlet, Black Shirt. I am all about those.
Yep, so we'll quickly see what that herb turns into. We get...
Drum roll.
Womp womp, the canal.
Which,
well, it's still 5% more EXP and money, so
exactly.
It's alright, but not great.
I mean, you also got the game over, try again. That's just one less thing you have to worry about finding later when you are deciding to whether or not to dive ordeals or waterfall.
So at this point, we have the waterfall, and should be 2 key items, but I'm thinking, so we still need the Mystic Key, the Loot, and the Oxyl are required for progression.
Mm-hmm.
The tail. But the only loose item we have left is the TNT. Oh,
which will lead to one of those.
Chime.
Yeah, we know where the chime is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how many loose items we have. Oh, ordeals. Of course, we have ordeals. That's the other incentive location that I'm not remembering, which is going to be our 4th item. That makes
Yeah. But nevertheless, there is still a loose item out here in the world.
2, in fact, actually, and we're
Yes.
basically going to have to find both of them. Even if one of them is the tail, it's still, again, basically required with this.
So that circle, I believe, is our go mode button. So once the runners have everything they need and they're ready to just blast through the rest of the game, we'll light that up to let y'all know.
Yep, so thanks to Randomania, that was one of the new things that was added to the tracker for this league, is a button to indicate when they have all of the required items to be able to progress through the rest of the game.
So it's not the Moon Pearl, because we're already in the Dark World. We just look like this normally.
Those iguanas look like they could have come from the Dark World.
Indeed. Go down nicely to a nuke, though.
So Mage is making some good progress through the volcano, has made it down to the 4th floor now. The last floor with chests aside from the single red D chest on Carrie's floor. So we'll see what else Volcano has in store.
So I suppose the question at this point is, do you check that red dragon chest?
We're still looking for 2 key items, and at this point we basically, well, Magius doesn't know because he hasn't checked Dice Cave, but they're very likely to be required often. I would be checking it as we still need the loose items.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would probably be my play too. I could see the universe where if you find that whatever the Agma tile is to be a little scary, putting it off and gambling on it, but it's a gamble nonetheless.
It is a play you can choose to make. Personally, I don't like to leave any stone unturned when I'm looking for loose key items, so that's the reason that I would choose to check it. But definitely, if there is something particularly nasty on the Agma tile, maybe we see those Whiz Ogres again with that first turn nuke. That might change my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, for instance, I was doing a practice seed of it, and I get my canoe, I go down to Volcano, I full clear it, except for that chest, and it just happened to be the floater.
Yeah, and that's the worst kind of situation to find yourself in. You leave that one chest open thinking, there's not going to be anything here, and sometimes the game will throw that right back in your face, and you'll have to go right back there.
Yeah. So let's hope for both of the runners' sakes that the 3 encounters they are going to be forced to take to check that chest are relatively gentle.
Well, one thing to consider is we do have Warp.
Oh.
And we find the Mystic Key loose here in Volcano, so that's a breath of fresh air, certainly.
Indeed.
But one thing to keep in mind is we do have Warp, so we could skip the second fight of the Agma tile if it is a danger. Yeah, Tiny Fairy pointing out that we're having our runners high five in the room with the Mystic Key, and now high fiving in the Agma tile room.
as Magius is taking time to chug all of the heal potions. Oh. I guess the Agama tile room had the Masamune. So, that's a pickup.
Well, that's something we're certainly going to be very happy to find. And now that Thief actually has a good source of physical damage, so now our party is going to be doing a lot of damage. This is going to be the glass cannon.
Yeah. Looks like the Agama tile also is bringing red giant friends along with it, so...
So that's an interesting fight because it's worth a lot of experience points, but depending upon how much HP the Agamas and red giants rolled, could be a very dangerous.
Not to mention, you know, if there, as with all things in these particular flags, if there's any nasty skills on these that you find out about late into a grind, that can just be horrifying.
So Magius finds the slime tile in front of the red D chest, and that's a potential great source of experience points. We're very deep in the dungeons, so we don't have a whole lot of spell charges left, but that could be a great grind spot if we need to come get lucky.
Especially if you want to, as Magius is, get out of this dungeon by way of carry.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely need to make sure you save enough spell charges to take out the fiend that you're in the dungeon of. And Magius at the 44-20 mark is our first runner to.
Yeah, turns out Carrie just needed 2 fades and a nuke to the face.
Yep, some good damage rolls made that fight go very quickly, and Magius is heading straight for the Northwest Castle. Gonna check out those 3 keylock chests as well as probably the 2 trap tiles of it.
Finding a wolf tile in the center. That is one of the 2 encounters you can find. The other 2 are zombie Ds and whiz vamps. So that's juicy.
So this is a very high risk, high reward kind of fight. Fortunately, it looks like the whiz vamps and zombie dragons don't have too many hit points, so this could be a real grind spot.
Yeah, that was 4,500 XP off of 2 fade charges.
Yeah, with as many fade and nuke charges as we have available here, I can definitely see using this tile to get a lot of levels to be able to give us the HP and magic defense to be able to survive much better in the later time.
As Poogle is still working on the Agamas and warping out from the looks of it. Not feeling confident in taking the carry fight without saving.
I can understand this play. It's very conservative, but you found a lot of really good things here. You found one of the loose key items. You found the Masamune. You've gotten some levels. I definitely understand trying to be a bit more conservative here. Also, Poogle's level 19. Did Poogle take the opportunity while there to grind on those metal slimes? Maybe that's why Poogle is warping back out.
No, that was just purely off the Agama tiles. I don't think Poogle's been down to the 5th floor of Volcano at all.
Okay, fair enough. Still some potential very good experience points that Poogle got there. And now going to go check out probably the red D chest and finish off carry while we're...
And warp, making it super easy to go to teleport all the way back up and bank all that XP.
Yep. Now that we've checked all the chests, it's not going to be too long to get back to where we were on the volcano dive. It takes between about 2 and 2.5 minutes to dive down to Carrie's floor if you're strictly go moding, which, as we've checked all the chests, we don't need to stop off at anything except the.
Helped by all of the lava tiles, which, despite the obnoxious flashy, which is going to be removed in a upcoming version of the randomizer, don't have any encounters when you walk on them at the cost of 1 HP per step.
Yep, you'll often see runners take as many of those lava tiles as possible, and it's not because we like hurting ourselves, it's because we're trying to avoid the time loss of random encounters.
Yeah. I mean, if we really liked hurting ourselves, we would take those random encounters, because did you see those Wiz Ogres?
Yep, and I hope I don't again. Mageius now at a healthy level 20 to 23 on all of his light wars. And still going.
Yeah, which I understand. With a party like this, you want all of the levels you can get, so that when Temple of Fiends starts throwing nuclears and ice threes and whatever those fiends down there have, you have the HP to tank those hits and actually get through them.
Yeah, I think the only reason to consider not going ahead and grinding here is because there's still a couple of loose key items that we could go get. I'd be very tempted to do, say, Ordeals and Waterfall first to get those 2 key items for the extra 10%. Trying to find maybe the tail to get the Thief upgraded to a Ninja to get the black magic spells that he will be able to cast.
Which will make this fight go even easier, because you could also have that Thief throwing out the nukes as well.
Yep. At any rate, looks like Mageius is satisfied with the levels that he's gotten. Gonna go stop off at Elfland, restore some spell charges, maybe do some shopping, and then we'll probably be on our way again.
Well, looks like we're going up and checking the Elfland Castle treasury, though you do have to go all the way around on the outside to get there. There we go. Finds a little bit of cash, a pro ring, and a pure potion.
Pro ring's good. It's going to provide some much needed armor to this party, as we're very lightly geared right now.
Yeah. Not to mention the additional benefit of the protection against death elemental spells, such as Rub and Quad X.
We have Wilkliosis, as well as many of our other Final Fantasy Randomizer runners joining us in chat. Thank you again to all of the viewers that are stopping by, and thank you again to Randomania 2 for hosting us on this wonderful Thursday evening. Hope everybody's having a great week, as we're getting close to that weekend. So Poogle now having her dance with Carrie, throwing out some zaps and some nukes and confuse. We're throwing the whole kitchen sink.
Looks like that confuse did not land, and ooh, Carrie smacking the Thief for 500, but goes down to a nuke, so.
We have a lot of damage coming out from Carrie, but fortunately a high roll from Nuke, and we're through the fight. So both of our runners now having their first orb, and we're back on our way. Mageius checking the Corneria treasury. We've got a soft, we've got a house. Checking a couple other chests. Power Gauntlet.
Oh, that's exciting.
Now that's something you really are excited to find.
Yeah. Throw that on. Looks like the red mage for now. And that will turn anyone into your primary damage dealer. Looks
so
like
mageius just stopping in and checking all the rest of the key lock chests. Poogle, meanwhile, prioritizing some of the key item progression. Gonna go check out Castle Ordeals and see what it holds for.
looks like we've got unrunnable Catman so far.
They're pointing out that Power Bonk plus Vorpal equals win. It very much does, and we find a Sun Sword, so now we have even more great weapon options available for our red mages.
Yeah, I would. You've got the katana for the ninja. You've got the sun sword and a flame sword for your red mages, and then you throw the masa on whoever you want of those three. Really.
My favorite equipment set up with this party, I think I'd love to have the katana on the ninja after promotion, Vorpal on one red mage, Sun Sword on another red mage, and the Maz on the black mage. And then you have all of the teams represented, even Team Helios, a la.
Yeah. Rainbow Poogle checking out one of the chests that you don't normally see because it is linked to a different chest deeper in Castle Ordeals, finding a encounter with 3 waters for her trouble.
Yep, that's one of the lesser checked chests, but with the randomizer and with the shuffling of the trap tiles, it behooves the runners to check that and see what the fight is.
And gets all the way through the pillar maze, finding the Sahags guarding the treasury.
Yep, so with Warp, the pillar maze doesn't take long. We find a Pro Cape in the second floor of Ordeals. That's another welcome sight, as that's 8 more absorbed for any light warrior in this.
Finds a chunk of cash, and our incentive item is the loot.
So we found the loot, we found the key, we've got the chime available in the vendor in the on-rack shop.
Mm-hmm.
So depending upon what the robot in the waterfall holds for us, we could see our runners make a choice. Do you gamble if it is the Oxyale, that you either don't need the tail or that you could find it in Sea Shrine? Or do you keep thoroughly digging, looking for that tail, and take it safe with the class change?
And of course, if the robot gives the TNT, which will turn into either the tail or the Oxyale once we turn it into the minor dwarf down in the cave, what are you gambling on there?
Split Punch asking, why would we be looking for a tail? I would love to actually have some armor on that thief if he's going to be in the front row of the party, be able to actually soak some hits rather than just being a run bot that falls over at the first sign of danger.
Plus, it'll open up the red mage to learn a few more spells as well, including the level 7 fast we saw earlier.
Yeah, level 7 fast. That actually is blocked by a class change for both the Black Mage and the Red Wizard. In addition, there's Cure 4 and Exit available at level 6 after class change for the Red Wizard. So definitely some good options and reasons to class.
Yeah, and lest we forget, both the katana and the Vorpal sword, should we find it, are post-promotion weapons only.
Yep. It looks like Poogle, I think, is on the way to the waterfall. Yes, Poogle picked up her chime and is now on the way to the waterfall. So we will quickly see what the robot holds for us today, as Mageius has made his way through the ice cave now to catch up on the progression that. Split Punch pointing out that if he had the Oxyel from the robot or the TNT turning into Oxyel from the robot, that he would make the decision to jet and not bank on tail. And that's one of the interesting decisions that you have to make as a runner. Do you prioritize speed or do you prioritize playing it a little bit safer? So I'm curious to see what our runners will do.
Yeah. Especially because we have the defense sword, but we haven't seen the white shirt yet. We do have a number of invisibility 2 charges, but the question of whether or not they'll hold up all the way through Topher, given that they're on, I think they're level 1, which is pretty overloaded at the moment.
Yeah, and Viz 2 and Fade both at level 1, so you have to make the choice there if you're going to prioritize offense or defense, but Nuke is level 3, and it does more damage than Fade, so you can prioritize using Nuke on the dangerous fights and saving some of those Invis 2.
True. Our robot has the TNT, so who's to say what that's going to be?
Well, there's a 50-50 chance now that Rainbow Poogle has just hit Go mode, and we will have to see what it is that Narek gives. Mageius, making an interesting choice here, is going to go to Earth Cave and see what is in some of these chests on the first floor and potentially dive.
Runs into some frost dragons for his trouble.
Now, I believe Mageius has actually not gone over to Onrak yet to see that the chime is available at the vendor shop, so he does not have that. Unrelated Pants pointing out in the chat that we have 1 ribbon and no armor yet, and that's another reason that I'd be strongly considering that class change.
Rainbow Poogle hurrying up back to Elfland, selling off a whole bunch of armor.
Looks like Poogle is choosing to sell off all the armor that the ninja could be equipping after class change, so maybe Poogle is not going to be too worried about class changing and just going to prioritize trying to get through the game as quick as possible.
It looked like she was also selling a lot of stuff that is night only.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If it's night only, you definitely sell that, but she definitely sold the Silver Shield and Silver Helm that could both be equipped by a ninja. The boss and enemy percent sliders on this are actually the same, and it is 50% to 200%. So a boss that rolls 600 hit points could have anywhere from 300 up to 1,000.
Poogle stopping off the dwarf. Let's find out what that TNT is. We're in Schrodinger's Go mode. Let's open up that box.
And it's the tail, so now Poogle is definitely going to probably want to go get that class change, given that there's no reason not to. So, still looking for that 1 loose key item. And place your bets, chat, if you want to guess where it's going to.
Oh. So, Shadow Walker, what's your bet?
I'm going to bank on Sky in the Asterisk room. Because that's where the last key item was for Go mode in my race on yesterday. So,
looks like Falconic agrees with you. My vote is for Mirage 2.
Tilo says it's always Sky. And Classic Gamer says it's going to be here on Earth, so we will see.
Yeah.
And Halgern 25, Marsh Cave. Oh.
Did we not?
Oxiel was in Northwest Castle.
Huh.
Okay. Mageius did check that chest, I think, but I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah. I don't see it on the tracker, so I'm guessing he just missed it while grinding.
So either he was just way too excited about the Zombie D and Whizvamp, or we all just managed to blank.
Yeah. Well, we can double check next time he starts potioning up.
Alright, well, no Schrodinger's Go mode about it. Rainbow Poogle definitely is now in Go mode, so as soon as Poogle finishes doing her grind here at the Whizvamps and Zombie Ds, we'll see what level Poogle hits and chooses to close out the game. Oh no, I hope Algernon 25 that's not the case, but pointing out that Mageius never opened the chest after the trap.
Yeah, because that was definitely the tile he was grinding on. But I would be terrified in that case. Dropping the heal staff and the mage staff, interesting.
That's one of the worst positions to be in. You definitely went to that area and you think you opened the chest, and it's happened to me where I've mismarked my notes before. I remember there was one seed where the floater was locked in the Elven Treasury, and I got the Mystic Key and I checked all the chests, except I forgot to check the chests that were actually in Elfland. And about 2 hours into the seed, I eventually just gave up because I thought I had checked everything, but just missed those chests.
Yeah, actually, the floater in Volcano mentioned, turns out I just never pressed the A button on that chest. I was too busy trying to get away from that spike tile. And an hour later, I finally just gave up.
Yep, so it's very unfortunate, and that could be very costly for Mageius, so
Mageius
hopefully
also
he
doesn't have
remembers.
the rod.
He talked to the sages, though.
I know
Take a
Poogle
wipe
did.
after the sages? No, I saw
Or
Mageius
maybe-
go back later and talk to the sages.
Maybe he saved before he reset. Or didn't save before he reset. Which
Oh no, yeah, that
I've
would be
done before.
yeah. And Wilkleos is pointing out in chat that confirmed the Oxiel is not in Mageius' inventory, and so
Okay,
yeah, he's gonna have to go talk to the sages.
Definitely cleared that.
Yeah, the rod was at the sages, so he's gonna have to go talk to the sages to pick up that rod again. And also he's going to have to go to Northwest Castle to get the Oxiel, so this is definitely an unfortunate position for Mageius to be.
Yeah. As Poogle continues the Zombie D Whizvamp grind.
Yeah, and Venerable pointing out that after having grinded on that trap tile, would be very unlikely to go back and check those 2 chests. Although it was interesting, I do remember that Mageius did not check the top left chest in Northwest Castle, so maybe Mageius remembers that he didn't check the top left one, because he only ever fought the trap tile in front of the right one, and maybe he double checks at that point those chests. So
yeah,
hopefully for his sake, he will have the presence of mind to be able to remember.
yeah. Well, visits the Lefanians, gets a bottle, so that's forward progress. Unfortunately, the bottle isn't going to lead to anything in particular, just the deed to a ship.
Yep, so Rainbow Poogle now level 28 and 29. And decides that either it's time to save or time to leave. We'll see which.
Well, definitely saving. And back in.
Fair enough. I think with this party, you have to get to probably the mid-30s by the time you're really going into Topher, just because you're going to need the HP to be able to survive these fights.
Yeah.
For instance, right now the Thief only has 428 hit points, which is it's enough to be able to survive a nuke, but not to have much clearance space for it.
Indeed.
Glyther Reborn pointing out in chat that Poogle could definitely go take the opportunity to class change before finishing out this grind, which is something that I would definitely agree with. Get yourself a couple of nuke charges to be able to throw out on that.
Yeah. So, Lyra SNL in SRL in chat says that it's an hour 8 minutes in, and pizza was being eaten. So, would like a recap.
All right, I will do my best to be able to recap this. So we talked to, after we defeated Garland, we talked to the King and Princess Sarah. The King gave us the canoe, Princess Sarah gave us the adamant. We then went to the dwarves, and the smith turned that adamant into crystal, which restored the sight to the witch Matoya, who gave us the floater.
Yes.
And then we fought Bicky and his Buccaneers.
And they had their looted gemstone, the ruby.
Right, they had the ruby. Then we went south and talked to the sages, who gave us the rod. We talked to Sarda, who gave us the crown. The kindly old king of Northwest Castle gave us the item that was progression cube. He had the Tesseract, that's right.
Yes.
From there, we went to Ice Cave, and we found the herb. The herb was turned in for the canal.
Mm-hmm. We found a slab in the Cardia Islands with the dragons, which once we were able to talk to the Lefanians, they gave us a fairy in a bottle who had a deed to the finest sailing ship in the inland sea.
Right. We also found the Mystic Key loose in the volcano. We found the Oxyel loose in Northwest Castle. And Ordeals had... The vendor item was the chime. Honorak had
Ordeals had the loot.
To tail, and Ordeals had the loot. You're right. Yes, you're right.
Yes.
We got there.
Woo! By our powers combined, we have a working memory.
And as far as swords, we found the defense and the Mazamune in Volcano. We found the Excalibur in Earth, and we found the katana in Cardia, and a ribbon in Dwarves.
The Vorpal is just playing hard to get. And the Power Gauntlet was in the Corneria Armory.
Yep.
As cockatrices are blasting damage, status poison, as well as that Ice 2 we saw earlier. So Magius has an exciting...
Yeah, we knew they were nasty. Turns out they are even nastier than we thought. Gets by with the skin of his teeth, and is going to be able to bring the party.
Yeah. Luckily has a few soft potions, but only one left.
Chat giving us some very different opinions about the Vorpal being missing. Magius did finally remember to talk to the sages and has his rod now as he's on his way back into the Earth Cave.
Yeah. So we're going to get, hopefully, our first look at Lich pretty soon. Well, briefly.
Poogle, now around level 32, has decided it's time to go ahead and start making some moves. I would imagine we're going to go class change and then do some dungeons.
Mm-hmm. Stopping by the Corneria armor shop, didn't see anything she wanted. Crashing straight into Melmond.
Yeah, our runners are really bad at piloting airships, myself included. Hey, there's some gold bracelets that we can finally really equip our party with some armor. That's a very welcome sight.
Look, they don't even give you a manual for, how to land. But, at least I've never had any airship landing that I couldn't walk away from.
Silver Fire in chat pointing out that piloting airships is nearly impossible. They definitely don't give you the training course when you lift it out of the sands, do they?
It's much more of a, crash course.
Alright, so, whatever blocker was in our way in the third floor of Earth is gone, and we use the rod to reveal a staircase. I'm told there's a mini-boss there, but I'm just not convinced.
Yeah, I've heard rumors. Poogle is on her way to go talk to the King of Dragons and graduate as a full-fledged adventurer.
Yep, so we'll definitely be able to pick up Fast now and Cure 4 and Exit as well, so gonna get some good magic available now that we have all those casts of high-level spells, and we'll be on our way into clearing sea and sky and earth and
Heading back to Melmond, probably for that Life 2 that was not quite able to get got.
Yep, Life 2, unfortunately, it's going to be off the table. We're going to have to rely on Life and Cure 4, so we'll be able to get the job done. They take 2 spells instead of 1.
Yeah, good news is we can at least get Temper on everyone outside of the ninja.
Yep, 3 casters of Temper and either the Katana or the Mazmune in the hands of that ninja. We're going to be doing some damage, and we're going to get there pretty quick.
Indeed. As Magius is making his way to Lich's room, as 3 of the party members fall into a giant crack created in the earth by the giant. Poogle is blasting through the 2nd floor of Earth.
And we find Lich. Our party seems to have all fallen around us, though. So it's going to be solo Red Mage versus Lich. And Lich actually rolled up on hit points, so he's surviving a little bit longer than...
Yeah, but I would put my money on the Red Mage any day of the week, and 3 Fade casts later, Lich is no problem.
Yeah, Silverfire, I looked away from the screen for a minute talking to chat, and I missed what happened with Lich, so I'm not really sure myself.
Yeah, Lich cast a few spells. Hold was one of them, but that I'm pretty sure that's the Red Mage with the ribbon.
Yeah, I have to think that something got Bane or Crack or something off.
Oh, it was the Giants before the Lich fight got a almost TPK on Magius's party.
Oh, that makes sense. We did see Crack out of the Giants, so that's probably what did.
Yeah, I watched it happen. It was brutal.
Poogle following closely in Magius's footsteps, but has every key item in the game, and much higher levels, is going to make very good time coming through Earth Cave. Looks like Ashu's taking a little bit of a nap, but the other 3 are definitely going to tread through this dungeon very quickly.
Meiji is finally finding that ridiculously overpriced chime. I mean, it was mass-produced in Lefane. There's no way it's worth that much money.
Antlers in chat just recently joined and is asking for another recap, so let's see if we can do this twice.
All right.
So we found the canoe from the king and the adamant from Princess Sarah. The adamant was turned in and we got the crystal. We also found a ribbon while we were over there at the dwarves. We turned in the crystal for the floater. We fought Bicky and his Buccaneers for the ruby. We went south and talked to the sages for the rod. We went to Sarda and got the crown. We fought the kindly old king in the Northwest Castle and we got the cube. The Oxhiel was in Northwest Castle key locked. The Mystic Key was buried in Volcano Loose. There was a slab in Cardia Isles Loose. The slab turned in after translated gave us the bottle. The bottle was turned in for the chip. The Ice Cave held the herb, which we turned in for the canal. Ordeals had the loot. The waterfall had the TNT, which we turned in for the tail. The chime was available for sale in the vendor item in Onrak.
And that was beautiful.
Yeah, that was everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Got there. Much faster than last time.
I mean, it helps to go through it once or twice.
And Lyra SRL pointing out that we had an out-of-bounds spat sighting. So, hooray!
No, that's the dwarf.
Oh, I'm sorry. They were asking for out-of-bounds bat. Unfortunately, not gracing the screen.
Yeah. Rainbow Poogle is stopping off in Crescent Island to buy the Pro Rings.
Yep, now that we've got pro rings and gold bracelets for everybody, we're much better equipped and much more protected than we were before.
Yeah, the only armor I would ask for would be more ribbons or just a lucky opal bracelet out of nowhere.
Yeah, opal bracelet would be nice. Second pro cape would be nice. But Poogle has all of the key items that she needs to be able to get through this game. At this point, it's just go through those 2 Fiend dungeons and clear them, light your orbs, and go into Temple of Fiends Revisit.
Yep, as she blasts her way through Mirage Tower. Magius, unfortunately, is checking out... Well, maybe fortunately, I don't know what's here. The Keylog side of Temple of Fiends. Finds a heal potion.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mageius still has not gone to Castle Ordeals to find the loot that is the incentive item there, and did not remember to check the chests after finding the wizard, vampire, and zombie trap tile in Northwest Castle. So he is down 2 of the key items that he needs to be able to go into go mode.
Finding a house and a cabin, so nothing but some camping gear holed up in the Temple of Fiends shed.
Glycer Reborn pointing out in chat that we all know that the best endgame weapon is always Power Bonk. And Glycer, you're very right. I cannot argue with your logic, as the Power Bonk will let you literally punch your way through anything.
Yeah. And a Tiny Fairy pointing out that they feel so bad about Mageius missing the item, and it's always heartbreaking to have that moment of, oh god, I thought I was there, and I thought I checked everything.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, and it's very easy to happen. Poogle deciding to drop the flame shield rather than equip it on the ninja. It's an interesting choice.
And not the one I would have gone for either, but
to each their own, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. It could also be the case that Poogle is a little confused on what the ninja can and can't equip. Also, I don't think we have the teleporter maze on. So, unless she's on the hunt for Wormek.
I mean, that is possible.
Yeah.
She definitely has the levels that she needs to be able to fight Wormek and survive. Not aware ninja can equip it? Yes. Silverfire, the ninja can equip it.
Oh no, I think Silverfire's asking whether or not Poogle is aware that ninja can equip it.
Oh, that could be, yeah.
Yeah.
As far as armor that the ninja can't equip, basically the ninja can equip anything that isn't the top tier. So cannot equip the opal armor or the dragon armor. I'm not sure on steel armor. Cannot equip the opal shield or Aegis shield. Cannot equip the opal gauntlets or the opal helmet. But I believe every other armor, with the exception of white shirt and black shirt, is on the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The answer is that no, the ninjas cannot wear steel armor. Which, fair, it makes too much noise, they're a ninja.
Fair enough. And as Rainbow Poogle did just pass by the teleporter up, confirmed she's looking for Wormek. We're going to get a shiny robot on the screen, and we're going to have ourselves a...
Ah, I see the mech.
Yep, metal chicken wings on the menu tonight. Vadgar 1 asking, Ninja and Red Wizard have pretty much the same attack power. No, actually, the Red Wizard has one more strength growth per level than the Knight, or than the Ninja, rather. So technically, as far as raw damage, the Red Wizard will in fact do more damage than the Ninja in the endgame.
However, I think they do have the same hit percentage growth. I don't know where they start relative to each other.
Fair enough.
So there are a number of factors in play about who's going to hit harder. As Poogle takes down her robot.
Yep, as far as physical attack stat growth, Black Belt is of course the highest in the game, followed by the Knight, who is a very close second. Red Wizard after that, and then Ninja, and of course White and Black mages. Just unless they're swinging Masamune, their damage doesn't count generally.
According to a tiny fairy, the ninja does actually have the better strength growth.
Oh, interesting. Then I am misinformed.
Yeah. Apparently, Red Wizard starts off with a slightly better hit percentage, but they grow at the same rate. So the Red Wizard will get an extra hit, one attack earlier.
Oh, I see. Red starts 5 points higher. Okay. Thank you, Tiny Fairy. Keep me honest.
Yeah, it's useful to have chat with things like with the guides and the numbers opened to double check us. We love you, chat.
I mean, as long as we're not doing math on Twitch, right?
Exactly.
All right, so Rainbow Poogle has successfully taken down the mech and has quickly made her way back through the maze after casting a quick warp spell to reset position of the floor. And we're on our way across the Bridge of Destiny to go fight her.
Sadly, War Mech running around below means that there is no Bless RNG required this seed. That's the only War Mech around, the last robot, and Rainbow Poogle killed it.
How could you? You monster.
I mean, to be fair, I feel the same way about people who kill Tyros.
Oh, fair enough. Also, I totally would have also killed the robot. With her levels and her gear, I definitely would have killed the robot. I am also a monster, so, you know.
Mageius checking out Mirage, looking for that last key item, which is unfortunately in Northwest Castle, finds a Thor hammer for his trouble. And then decides to reset out, not finding what he wants.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mageius is going to be checking all the locations that he hasn't dug yet, and unfortunately that means he's going to be looking at all the wrong places to hopefully find that Oxio. We see some Bane strats coming out to try and take down the dragon. Some Bane and Brack strats, that is.
Yeah, Brack is a 26% chance to hit. That's the one bit of math I will do on Twitch because I have those notes.
Well, but see, that's not math. That's looking back to reference material, right? You're not calculating it here on Twitch. That would be bad.
Fair. There's a reason I calculated it beforehand.
Yep, so it's important to note that Brack is the more accurate of the two insta-death spells here. Brack will have a higher hit percent than Bane does, although, again, I couldn't tell you exactly what number that is.
So, I just did that math on live on Twitch. It looks like Bane is about a 14% chance to hit.
Oh, there you go. It's about 12% more effective, so...
Yeah, Silverfire doing the actual calculations under the hood. And then all of those numbers are divided by 2 because it's a dice roll between 1 and 200. So your percentage is about half of what you need to hit.
Yep. That sounds right. Right, so Poogle, after having slayed the dragon, is now going through Onrak and into sea. And one calamari later, we will be ready for Temple of Fiend.
Yeah, the one thing I always pray for is that lobsters are not doing their lobster things today.
Yeah, see, lobsters don't need to roll Stone Touch or Death Touch. They have Lobster Touch, and that's work.
Yeah, No, apparently Nasir thought lobsters just wandered around the seafloor wielding vorpals and mossas. And then the randomizer said, okay, but what if we rolled 200% of that?
Oh, and Poogle in the long room here, finding a second ribbon. So, a very welcome sight.
Yeah, and that's a chest that, you know, I would check every single day of the week. Because it's on the way, it's maybe an extra step.
Yeah, there's a couple of chests that we refer to in this game as greed chests, and it's because there's so few steps out of your way, or there are steps that don't have encounters along the way, and it's almost more sensible to take them than not take them, even if you have everything in the game that you could possibly need.
Yeah, because, you know, even if you have everything that you need, there's always that, you know, few last things you still want. Such as that second ribbon right there.
Right. As Overfire pointing out that it's literally one extra step, so.
And there's one on the bottom of Sharknado that is literally 0.
Right. And if you choose to take 2 steps that could possibly have encounters, you can get up to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Poogle taking the lesser-known top path over to Kraken. It's just a few extra steps, but it's basically the same number of encounter steps.
Yeah, I usually go for the bottom route, but that's mostly because I didn't know that top route was there until just now.
I don't know the exact number of whether there's fewer encounter steps. I think that there are fewer encounter steps if you go left, actually. So I don't think it actually saves any time, but it's definitely a very viable path to get there, nonetheless.
Yeah. Fires off 2 Brax. Kraken fires back with a damage poison.
Looks like Kraken rolled some decent absorb.
But we have Bracked the Crack.
Yep, broken to pieces. You can't resist that. Well, absorb doesn't resist Brack, rather. You can resist Brack, but Kraken.
Indeed. And with that, all Rainbow Poogle has left is the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Yep, so Poogle now has the levels, the gear, second ribbon for safety. So this is a wide open race for Poogle. We will see what Temple of Fiends has in store, but unless Mageius remembers that he has not checked the Northwest Castle chests, this is Poogle's race to win.
Mm-hmm. Poogle looks like probably gonna rest up at the inn, maybe do some last minute shopping. Rearranging her inventory.
Yeah, it looks like Poogle decided not to hang on to the katana, is instead going to rely on the Mazamune with that ninja. So definitely with the number of fades and nukes and other spells that we have available, probably not going to be too big of a deal, but could have chosen to have 2 good weapons as opposed to 1. So we'll see if that comes into play here.
I totally missed what happened to Mageius, but poison on rock gulls. That's terrifying, and I definitely saw Mageius pull a pack of 4 of them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you see something nasty like that on rock goals because they're normally a fight that, if they're not dangerous, you'd love to be able to take them if they don't have too many hit points. Generally, with either nuke or fade, rock goals and mud goals have very low magic defense, and a single charge of that is usually enough to take a pack down, and they're worth great experience points.
And at an hour 37 and a half, Rainbow Poogle is kicked in the Black Orb and is in the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
So the Phantom Trap tile has been replaced by a much less dangerous Gur Shark Shark.
Which, if you're still looking for experience, isn't the worst thing in the world to take, but in Topher you want to hold on to all of those resources that you can.
Yeah, it's also certainly less good than the Zombie D Whiz-Vamp tile that we saw earlier, so...
Indeed.
Probably not an option that's...
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily take it, but, or at the very least, I wouldn't necessarily take more than one of those.
Those mud goals with the worm sprite, or sorry, the worm color palette, actually looks very good. I like that. Yeah, one of the fun percents that Rainbow Poogle is playing with is the color palette shuffle, where all of the enemies have different colors, which is why you see the Earths here sporting gray and white, as opposed to their traditional yellowish brown.
I kind of like it, though. It's very granite looking.
Yep. Looks like Ashu is holding on to the heal staff, and I can appreciate the attempt to be able to restore some hit points as we're going along. Unfortunately, I feel in practice that the heal staff and heal helmet just don't restore enough hit points to be worth the time that it takes to actually get them off.
I mean, I look at it as, like, if it saves me a potion use later, then it's worth it for me. But for the most part, I tend to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting choices because it can save you heal potions. I will absolutely concede that point. But one philosophy that I have always been a fan of is a dead enemy does you no harm. And the amount of spells that we have available to us, I'd much rather throw out a nuke, a fade, bane, any number of spells. As we see the third ribbon of the seed located in Sky 3 East.
Yeah, the 6-pack.
I was so distracted by the ribbon, I saw briefly on the screen that there was a lich, and I didn't see it doing anything, and now it's gone. So that guy's not going to do us any.
I was watching the lich fight. It was there. It was not, usually how lich goes. Looks like Carrie opened with a quad X on the ninja, who resists it thanks to the pro ring. We fire a quad X and a couple of fades back. Carrie tries to stun the ninja, who resists it. And everyone's getting punchy, and the ninja takes down Carrie 2.
So Carrie 2, not too dangerous today. So fortunately, it's not going to take too much time out of our day to take down that fiend, and we're on to the water.
Water floor always being my second least favorite floor of Temple of Fiends Revisited. I hate them more and more in the order that they're presented.
Silverfire pointing out that in vanilla, it's measurably faster to use the heal staff or heal helm than potions because you're saving the time that it takes to buy the potion. And absolutely Silverfire is correct in that regard.
Indeed.
The buy 10 is an absolute godsend to the randomizer, and trying to go back to vanilla and buying potions one at a time is painful, to say the least.
Yeah, and I definitely really love all of the speed options that the randomizer provides. And if you at home are like, yeah, I really love this randomizer, but I just want to play the vanilla game, might I suggest playing what we like to call improved vanilla. It's got all of that great vanilla flavor, but preserving a lot of the speed hacks and useful techniques that the randomizer gives us, such as the faster movement and the buy 10 option in the shops.
Oh, right. Thank you, Lyra SRL, for remembering the command for me. It's FFR and not FF1. Getting my commands messed up. But yes, links to Discord and links to the Final Fantasy Randomizer homepage available in chat. So definitely feel free to drop by the Discords, check out the homepage for FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. You're more than welcome to play with improved vanilla flags. You're more than welcome to get crazy with your flags. We all love the game, and definitely stop by one of the Discords you see in chat, and feel free to check us out and hang out and have a good time.
Yeah, we have a weekly seed promoted by Most Mogoi and several other people where we have been rolling out nice, easy seeds to help new players get up to speed so that maybe you'll be, our next great racer someday soon.
And if you're looking for something harder, something to really grind your teeth on, the challenge seeds are definitely what you want to check out, as Falconic FF does a wonderful job of whipping those up. And we have Tiamat 2 going down on one side of the screen and a Wormmech being pulled on the other. So
yeah,
definitely a tasty treat.
Definitely going down to a Quad X there, which is always exciting to see.
Yeah, anytime you manage to get that HP range right on those refights, that you're able to take them down with a Quad X, feels really good. Quad X is a spell that kills any enemy in the game that does not resist death magic, so long as it has 300 or fewer hit points.
Yeah, so if you find something with 400, you punch it for 101, it'll go down. Or maybe you only have to punch it for 100. I forget whether or not which way it goes if they're at exactly 300.
I believe it is 300 or less, they die.
Okay.
Very akin to the power word kill in D&D, where if it has like, 6 hit dice, 8 hit dice or something like that, or fewer, it's dead instantly.
Yeah.
Boy, I shouldn't be making that reference. It's been a long time since I played D&D.
Yeah, and I'll just say I'm pretty sure it varies from edition to edition too. And
oh, it absolutely does.
Yeah. So I'm going to assume you were right in at least one edition of Dungeons & Dragons. As rainbowpoogle has now pulled Chaos with a stunning light purple and green color palette today.
So it looks like we didn't bother to pick up Tempers. We don't have Fast. We're just going with gun 'em down strats. We're going to throw out the Mazmune, and we're going to throw out all the nukes that we have in the pool. So a couple of swings and nukes. We do about 300 points of damage, and Chaos hits hard as Poog goes down to 70 hit points.
Chaos firing off a lit 2. Luckily, Poog only takes 26 damage from that. As the party fires back. Ooh, that's a good nuke roll of 382, and then one of 202. 3 hits for 91. Whew. I would be buffing that ninja.
I believe Poog just queued up a Quad X. It's important to remember that Chaos resists death magic, and even if he has 300 or fewer hit points, he is not going to die to Quad X. Another lucky nuke roll gets 382 damage, 4 hits for 19 damage from the ninja. Unfortunately, Chaos has a very high absorb, and I'm curious why we're not seeing some power block charges used here.
Probably just trying to put pedal to the metal, which I understand, but yeah, there are ways to. Ooh.
And a nuke comes out from Chaos.
As the ninja swings for 1 hit, 1 damage, but Chaos goes down.
Nuke on Chaos, and we see 157 damage, and that is GG rainbowpoogle. I appear to have lost my connection to the room. Do you know what the official turnaround time was?
No, I went to check it, and I noticed myself getting reset as well. I have re-entered. Let me see if I can't find the room. Here we are. So rainbowpoogle finishes with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 21 seconds.
GG to rainbowpoogle. We'll see if we can get Poogle into chat for an interview or not.
As Magius, unfortunately, is making a Marsh Cave dive. Which I would do in Magius' shoes as well, because in my head, I'm still looking for a key item, so I'm going to continue to explore places that I think I haven't checked yet. Unfortunately, we know at home that the Oxyale is in the rightmost key-locked chest of Northwest Castle, and that this dive is not going to pay off the way that Magius wants.
Looks like Poogle is elected to decline an interview, so we will follow Magius' progress and see how he's doing.
Find some cash, but at this point, you're basically, the Bill Gates of the Final Fantasy world.
So, unfortunately, Magius, we know that he is not going to find the items that he needs here. Of course, I'm strongly suspecting that he will think this is the last place that he needs to check. We'll see if he remembers that Northwest Castle still has some unchecked chests for him or not.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And that Oxyale is the only thing he needs. The moment he can find that, he can just blast through the rest of the game. But unfortunately, it's just not here.
So, Crave and Gator fight were guarding the crown chest, and we'll see what's here today. It's an opal gauntlet.
And a Grey Pede in the lock chest tile.
Once again, I want to thank Randomania 2 for working with us tonight, hosting us here on the channel. And I want to thank my broadcast partner, Lady Starscream, and our restreamer, Demarine 2. All these wonderful people putting in work behind the scenes, on the screen. I want to thank both of our runners for putting on a good show tonight. Going to continue following Magius and see if we can't get on the right the ship and get on the right.
Ooh, that's a spicy tile. Multiple blue dragons.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the B-side encounters is 2 to 3 blue dragons on a tile. That can be a fight that's worth some really good experience points. It's also very dangerous.
Indeed. So unfortunately, I don't remember if Magius has checked every single chest in Marsh. I know that he's missing the bottom left chest that's locked, but I forget if he's checked all of the other ones. Clearly not.
Yeah, there's the one in the very top right corner, and oh, actually, that was the one in 3-3. There's that blue D tile again, and we're gonna go check the trap tile.
Great piece.
Yeah, it's interesting. This room, it's actually possible to get around the trap tiles if you go straight up from the entrance, 2 to the right, go all the way to the bottom, and approach the chest from the underside. You actually can avoid all the spike tiles.
I do like a weird sideways S.
So I think there's one less chest for Magius to check in here. It's the one in the very top right. Oh, I guess he missed that one too.
I think the one in the very top right is a linked chest to save space in Final Fantasy 1. Some chests are basically the TARDIS equivalent of each other. So you open one chest, you also open up the other one. It doesn't matter which one you pick, they'll both have the same item, but you can only grab one of them once.
Yep, Magius, knowing that he still has that one item out there, is desperately trying to look for any chest that he can and make sure that he hasn't missed anything. Unfortunately, we know that he has, and the item that he is looking for is not here.
Yeah, and unfortunately, at this point, he has checked every chest in Marsh, and he realizes it as well and is warping his way back out.
Yep, so we'll see if Magius remembers. We'll see where he goes. No, go back. Go back. Go back to the...
There's Lefane. Loot, key.
It's always a really tough decision. He's going back through each area trying to remember, have I been here? Yeah. Have I been here? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Checking one of the Cardi Islands that is empty.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Cardia Tiny Island, as well as the Double Forest top entrance, are both empty. There's some dragons in there that you can choose to talk to, but no treasures to be had.
Yeah. At this point, Magius is doing the thorough check of, okay, have I been here? Let's go check the chests, make sure. And so it's just a matter of time before he makes his way back to Northwest Castle.
Hopefully. Hopefully he will go back and hopefully he will remember. So Magius is thinking, are you still in the SRL room?
Magius has forfeited from the race.
Fair enough. Can't say that I blame him. It's one of those situations where you know that you missed a chest somewhere, and it's often very hard to remember. We'll see if we can't reach out to Mageius and see if there's an interview to be had, or if we're going to wrap up.
Yeah. GG to both of our runners.
Oh, it occurs to me that Mageius isn't in this channel. So I don't think we're going to be able to get an interview tonight. So unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap things up here. Thank you, chat, for hanging out and watching. And thank you to both of our runners, Mageius1, rainbowpoogle. Give them a follow, show them some love.